Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 4 minutes.
Hello. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good morning to the testifiers, especially Dr. Raxter. I would say congratulations, because I know me and my colleagues know that this honor is well deserving, and I am 100% in support of it. But I want to say thank you for this opportunity to really get a chance to speak to you guys and really know what this means to you. You know, it's one thing when we are in a society and people honor individuals, but when someone has stopped and said, you know what, this individual has done so much for our community and has presented themselves in a way that this is deserving, what does this honor mean to you, Dr. Raxter?
Thank you. Good morning, Senator Heyliger. It's nice to see you again. My PhD thesis, my doctoral thesis, thanks my parents for having allowed me to be born in the Virgin Islands and to have grown up here. My cousin, the elder Rupert Ross Jr., has said that I come from a long line of people that have figured out that you need to give back to where you are. And so to me, it means that whatever I had to do to continue to help was worth it, because somebody paid attention that things might be slightly better because of my efforts. That means a lot. I also really do think that we need to have more examples of us saying, this is what we consider good. We speak so very often about what's bad and who's wrong and what we didn't do correctly. But we need to say what we think people should aspire to. And if I have been recognized as somebody that should fit in that category, I'm absolutely honored and very much in favor of finding more people like that, because we do have them.
Well, thank you so much for that. And there's a quote that I speak of often, and it says, "We spend so much time rationalizing mediocrity, we have forgotten what greatness looks like." And I think when we take the time out to really honor people for all the things that they've done, instead of always trying to rationalize the mediocre and really focusing on the greatness that we do have in our community, this is the end result. So I am 100% in support of this. Mr. Ross, apparently, you know, I don't always know every relation. I had no idea you guys were related. So you learn something new on the Senate floor every day. So as relatives, how did you guys, grow up? Because I want to let the public know a little bit more about Dr. Raxter and how she ended up being this person here today that we are bestowing this honor on.
Well, Dr. Raxter, I grew up on St. Croix. Dr. Raxter grew up on St. Thomas. So we did not grow up on the same island, and they would not have the same environment. But our parents always kept us aware of the fact that we're family. And we always encourage each other to succeed. We always support each other in whatever it is we wanted to do. And as I said, basically, in my comments, we as a family, we're proud of the fact that we were given a lot, particularly educated, that the overwhelming majority of us came back home to the Virgin Islands to serve. We're grateful for that opportunity, and we're grateful for whenever one of us is being recognized, we feel that all of us are part of that process. So we thank you for the opportunity to make those comments.
Well, I know I have a couple seconds left, but I have a question for you. What do you think, Mr. Ross, that the naming of this building after Dr. Raxter would mean to the university?
To the university or to the community?
Well, it's at the university, but it's also for the community, but you can answer it however you choose.
Well, I am resistant to speak for the university. That's my reason. But obviously, it would be an inspiration for all the young students throughout from the territory and throughout the Caribbean. When they go to the university and they see the name of Dr. Lavon Raxter on the administration building, they would more than likely be inspired to find out who she was, what she did, what caused her name to be placed there, and hopefully they would seek to receive the same accolade in their lives at some time in their future. So it will be a source of inspiration.
That was an excellent answer. Well, thank you so much. My time has been called, but Dr. Raxter, I am 100% in support of this piece of legislation, and I am looking forward to the official naming of this building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Frances Heyliger. Allotted to Senator Frances Heyliger, Senator Alma Frances Heyliger. You are recognized for your 4 minutes.
Hi, good day. How are you? Good afternoon once again to my colleagues, to the testifiers. As I was reading through this piece of legislation, I have to admit it was somewhat unique in regards to where I had quite a bit of concerns. I am very funny about signatures and notary, and some of the things that I was seeing in here, were from a perspective of having to deal with situations in the past where individuals had gotten into situations where certain things had happened just because documents were notarized. I was very alarmed. But I am always one in believing to give everything a fair opportunity once I am learning about it, and then I could make a decision accordingly. I wanted to ask some questions specifically. The part that it says, I wanted to ask, do you guys believe that remote notarization is going to diminish the reliability of a notarized document? Because that's where a lot of people are going to be concerned about. If doing this remotely, what kind of issues could potentially come about it? And is this going to devalue what a notarized document is? Anyone on the panel could answer.
Senator, I think it would enhance the security with regard to notarization. I mean, it's unheard of that with a regular notarization that you're going to videotape and record these, and you've got to keep those records for 10 years. And I mean, that in itself, I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, I've been a notary in the Virgin Islands now for close to 40 years, and I just think there's a number of enhancements that are in 340155 that I think that again, I think that it will be a good thing for the territory.
Mr. Schuster, I want to ask you a question. In regards to the fee, is there a fee that you think would be appropriate? Because I know what I see here, but do you think those numbers are something that's feasible in this day and age? Your mic.
Yep. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Frances Heyliger. I had to unmute my mic. I don't think that the fee of $25 is prohibitive. Okay. We are in an inflationary period. As was mentioned before, there is a cost associated with the software to provide this kind of service. There is a cost for the notary bonds. Every year, the notaries public have to purchase a notary bond. They have to pay a fee to the Lieutenant Governor's office to be a notary. And so, all of that is an expense. So to go from $5 to something higher, I think is very important to make it feasible for the notaries public. And I don't see $25 as being prohibitive because, it's not something that you're doing presumably every week or every month, it's occasionally. Thank you.
Okay. Do you think that there's going to be like technological hurdles for individuals that are utilizing this form of notary?
Well, for at AARP, we see that there's a lot of challenges, especially beyond the age of 70. We find that people younger than the age of 70 are more technologically attuned. But you know, everybody, most people, I should say, will have a caregiver or a loved one who can help them to carry out this task.
Mr. Bolt, Attorney Bolt, I know earlier you talked about the video and all of this. Do you believe that with this piece of legislation that there are enough protections in place to guarantee the basic sanctity of a notarized document or a notarized transaction through this process? Do we need anything else, or you think this is enough?
I think it is enough. A couple of things I would point out, Senator, and I believe that Attorney McLean can answer this, but it is my understanding in meeting with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor and their notarial staff is that there is a plan within the Office of Lieutenant Governor to raise notary fees. There would be certainly an expense beyond regular notarial expenses to do the remote notarization, because you have to get software, you've got to get the video, you got to store the video, you've got to, all the things that you've got to do. But I believe, and again, Attorney McLean will correct me, but I understand that the plan is that by April, I think this legislation has got 180 days delayed effective date, but it is their plan to raise these fees. One of the things that I would also say is I think you provide a public service, and I have seen a situation during the pandemic where there were no notaries, and like somebody, we needed somebody within our office. I was not there, and the other notaries weren't there, and somebody wanted to charge like $200 to come notarize a document.
Oh, wow.
So, I think that it's well worth, just let the Lieutenant Governor to deal with this as they deem appropriate.
Okay. Well, I think I heard my time call, but it turned clean. Did you wanted to add anything? You good?
Just to echo Attorney Bolt's statement.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the time, and I appreciate the answers.
Fees,
Attorney McLean, one moment, Attorney McLean, you were coming in a bit. Attorney McLean? Hello, Attorney McLean? You were coming in a bit choppy with your initial response. So if you can start from the beginning, because we didn't hear you, and I'm sure that our stenographers did not hear you. Are you hearing me? Attorney McLean? The committee, Attorney McLean? The committee will, Attorney McLean, Attorney McLean, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
So about 20.
Okay, we're gonna stand in recess for about a minute so we could. McLean, kindly begin from the beginning. We were having some internet issues and we could not hear anything that we heard a little bit. It was a bit choppy, but we couldn't hear most of what you said. So if you could respond to Senator Alma Francis Heyliger question on the record. Kindly proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Sorry about that. Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. So I was confirming Attorney Bolt's statement that the fees are going to be increased April 1, 2020. The new fee for notarial each notarial act will now be $15, and the maximum fee for travel will be $25. We'll also be increasing all of the associated with renewals and commissions and apostilles as well. Does that?
Thank you
That was
so
it?
much. Yes, it carried, and we clearly understood what you said. Our next, Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 7 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to my colleagues, testifiers, the people of the territory. I first would like to jump in a little bit on this round bay mooring project. What exactly will be the economic impact of this? As I see that Ms. Vargo is deeply against it, as opposed to it being protected, what would be the economic impact as to why this is so important? Because I need to understand it from both perspectives.
Good afternoon, Senator. So I would say, I mean, I don't have hard numbers right now, but we do have significant interest in overnight mooring or overnight anchoring inside of Round Bay. So it has particularly decent deep water, and it also allows larger vessels. So, you know, if we're proposing a cruising fee for vessels at $20 a foot, then, you know, per month, then we can be actually getting for those 100-foot yachts about $2,000 a month from them. And that would be a recurring, 3 days in, they go off, sail, come back, and then they cut, so over a 6-month period, which is the season, it's about $18,000 just from one vessel. But there are a significant amount of vessels that not only want to be in there from an overnight standpoint, you also have a significant number of local persons who boat on weekends, who go over on to the east end of St. John on Sundays, Saturdays, those types of things. And that's not so much a economic driven question, but more about being able to relax and enjoy the resources themselves in calm waters, calm protected areas as well.
Okay. Ms. Vargo, you spoke about your concerns. Now, as it relates to potentially the environmental aspect, and you touched along some aspects of that, but do you believe that there could be where both can coexist in some shape or form? Or is this an all or nothing situation for you? I don't know. Is she frozen? I believe Ms. Vargo is frozen because I don't see her moving. I'll move on until she gets back. I wanted to ask you, Commissioner Oriole, specifically about this situation with the library, and you guys still utilizing, et cetera. And I remember the last time you guys were talking, you were supposed to move into a new location. Has all of that taken place? I know you're just talking about rent, et cetera, and I wasn't sure if I heard all of it.
Yes, Senator. So the non-library operations have moved out of the library, of the Turnbull Library. And so right now it's just there for the library services. Okay,
excellent. When it came to one of the things the last time when we spoke to you guys about and this enforcement with the boats out there, and I see here that you guys were talking about getting some more enforcement officers. That has been a major contention, just even speaking to the community as to the enforcement, as to whether waste and different things and any kind of economic impact that could potentially come about with all the boats that are there. What are some of the things that you guys see? And with the number of people that you're seeking to get, do you think that they're adequate when it comes to the enforcement arm? And also, do you think, or how would you go about recruiting more people to specifically do that job? Because it seems to be a vital part, especially since COVID, and we have this influx of vessels to our shores.
Sure. So I think that whenever I speak about my enforcement division specifically, I always break it down into ideal scenario and then what's practical. So my ideal scenario would be 10 officers in each district.
Okay.
And I would have at least 4 vessels in each district. My practical is having 6 officers in each district and at least 2 vessels with a third or smaller 17-foot vessel. So right now, you know, we are poised to actually hit the practical number. We are currently, or we're soon going to have 6 officers for the St. Thomas, St. John district. We actually have a bid that's live right now that we are seeking to purchase 4 vessels, 2 for the St. Thomas, St. John, 2 for the St. Croix district, to go along with our existing fleet. I won't give the dollar figure on that because it is an open bid. So
that's fair enough.
You know, but we're slowly and systematically, the way we can afford to move forward. You know, we can't go forward with everything all at once because we don't want to suck ourselves to be in the red until we can also generate some revenue, apply for additional assistance and get there. But so far we're moving in a systematic fashion and we're progressing along pretty well.
Okay. While I have you, let me ask another question before we go back to Ms. Vargo. In regards to the grant and funding for the fishermen, how much actually is left to be distributed? Because I had a meeting with the fishermen and some of them were still a little bit concerned, that's a good word to use, as to how this program had been utilized, and they were under the impression that the funds should be distributed to them as it was initially supposedly discussed. We had spoken about some of their concerns with the monies, a bulk of the monies going to marketing and promoting the program, and I think to help with the process and the application fees, etc. But a few of them feel that they were not getting what was promised based on how these grant monies were supposed to be distributed. Could you clarify a little bit about that? How much money is left and what do you guys plan to do with it? Is it going straight into the hands of the fishermen?
So thank you. And Madam Chair, if I may to answer.
Yes, you could answer the question. I know the Senator time was called, but you may proceed.
Oh, I didn't hear. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
So Senator, the award was $10.7 million. We, in our proposal, put that we would do $7 million in direct assistance to the fishers, and then we had several other projects. 10% of that award, or about $300,000 of that award, was set aside specifically for administrative costs. About, I believe the number is like $297,000. We have not issued more than $297,000 worth of administrative costs. As a matter of fact, I refused to do the full 10% against that award. Currently, we've liquidated 6.5 million of the 7 million that we said we would issue as direct assistance to both the commercial and the charter industry for fisheries. Now, that was based on having a certain number of fishers apply for the phase 2, which is documentation for losses, as well as they could claim losses of income during those months. A number of fishers opted to just do the phase 1 payout of $5,000, and then the helpers received $2,500 payments, and they did not apply for phase 2. So we did not reach the $7 million that we anticipated. In order to make sure.
One question. I thought you said you put out 6.9 million.
6.5.
How much exactly did you disperse out of this 7 million?
6.5 million has been dispersed. And now what we've written to NOAA to do is, or the National Marine Fisheries Service is, we want to do a second $5,000 payment to everybody, which would now put us at that $6.9 to $7 million payment, which is what we said we would do in direct assistance. The thing is, that's a slight change in the award, and we need to get approval from the grantor agency in order to do that. And we're awaiting their approval.
Madam Chair, may I just ask for a little bit of clarity? Because I just want to make sure what I'm understanding. You said you got to the 6.5 in disbursement during the first round, but you're asking for a second round to get there?
No. So the the first round was just $5,000 to everybody.
What was the total amount for that?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll get that information for you. But the way we phased it, Senator, was everybody would receive, all commercial fishers would receive a $5,000 base payment. All helpers would receive a $2,500 payment. The third phase also includes the recreational charter fishermen, which was based on loss of income. The losses were eligible for a stipend or a stimulus or a disaster recovery grant of up to $75,000. That was the maximum amount. And so after tallying all the persons who put in for phase 2, and then issuing phase 3 to the commercial charter sector, we've now issued a little bit over $6.5 million. I think it's somewhere around 6.54 is the number.
Okay, thank you.
So in order to get to 7 million, we're proposing another $5,000 base payment to all the commercial fishers as well as the charter fishermen. And that would get us to that $7 million award payment.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Oriol, and thank you so much, Senator Francis Heyliger. I just want our senators, Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 4 minutes. Last round.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again to my colleagues. Good afternoon to testifiers. I wanted to talk a little bit about the stimulus grant. Earlier, I spent some time down in Hope Bay the other day where I had an opportunity to chat with you a little bit about the ramp that is being built. I had asked a couple of questions in regards to the location because, you guys said it's going to be in the same place. And I had also spoken about potentially having the temporary ramp done just in case. So those fishermen might not be disenfranchised during the time period that the ramp is being built. Has there been any more consideration or have there been any thought in regards to coming up with a cost for that to potentially happen since we last spoke? Because as you know, that was a major question that they kept asking about at that particular meeting.
So I would say since we last spoke, Senator, no.
Okay.
But again, it's not something that we have discarded. Well, you know what? I actually shouldn't say no since we last spoke, because and again, okay. It's because I did have a conversation with Public Works because we were actually talking more about the screening and the water flow that would go on underneath the that could be designed to go underneath the dock so that there's no interruption of sand migration, as one of the other comments that was made was. We know right now that there are existing sort of temporary bridges. Public Works is actually looking to deploy a few in St. Croix because they have some bridges that if we do not armor them properly or reinforce them, that based on federal highway guidelines are going to have to close the road. So they're looking at these temporary structures. They're mostly steel structures that can be placed, and they sort of serve as that ramp or bridge type purpose. Since they're getting costs on that right now, we can actually take a look at being able to provide that. I'm concerned that those things are not, that it might not be long enough for what we're doing. But now that you bring it up, and I know that they're looking at that because we had that conversation with them about a month ago. We can ask them what that cost is to have that temporary ramp that's placed down there, and if it's feasible, I don't see why we would not do it.
Okay. Well, it seems I have exhausted all my time with that one question, but I really do appreciate you sharing with me your response, and I look forward to hearing a little bit more about it. Thank you, Madam Chair.